Hello, everyone. I'm Yasmin Taj, editor ETHR International and head branded content for the Economic Times. ETHR World Southeast Asia has collaborated with Alight Solutions for an exclusive interview series with leading CHRs from Singapore on the theme, The New Rules of HR Transformation in 2023. If you missed our first episode, please find the link in the description for this exclusive interview with Pek Kem Loh, who's CHRO advisor at Singapore Public Service Division, the Prime Minister's office. With so many uncertainties around the world, digital transformation will become a paramount element in any business strategy to support and manage these shifts. However, the principles of digital transformation will change, and so will the technologies that will support the vision of digital transformation. As part of this video interview series, we will look into the new equations for leading digital transformation. And for our second episode, we are delighted to have with us Kelly Chua, who's Global Head of Human Resources at ASMPT, and Anirban Dass, who's Vice President and at Alight Solutions Asia Pacific. Kelly is an experienced senior HR professional in a global matrix organization in the semiconductor and industrial automation industry. She's skilled in HR strategy and analytics, innovation management, talent management and succession planning, performance management, total rewards, learning and OD, coaching, diversity and inclusion, and employee engagement. Anirban is responsible for professional service business for APAC and heads the India Delivery Centers supporting North America, EMEA, and Asia Pacific for Alight Solutions. So without any further ado, let me start with my first question for Anirban. So Anirban, the role of HR analytics, which is fast emerging as a key vertical in the HR ecosystem, needs to be viewed in a holistic context. In your experience, how does HR analytics create value for companies and employees in a hybrid work setup? And what are the major use cases of analytics across the HR ecosystem that you can share with us?
Thanks, Yasmin, for having me in the interview session. Yes, so as you mentioned, HR analytics identifies key HR metrics and tracks and reports. There is a lot of data which is collected in today's world in terms of transactions, and some of this data needs to then analyzed, and it enables companies to make right hiring decisions or ensuring they're rewarding the right talent, ensure they are spending the right amount of budget in training and other activities to enhance skills and shape up the organization-wide strategy. When it comes to use case, if I think of the top 3 use cases which come in my mind is, for example, making the right hiring decisions using AI. It's very important that as companies go out and they're growing, they hire the right talent. And a lot of the data from existing employees and how they have performed in after they have been hired allows companies to then analyze and make the right hiring decisions, like which demographics the performance is better, hiring from which colleges and institutes, or which particular skills, hiring of which skills is allowing companies to be productive and help driving some of the growth, helps to ensure that we are driving the right organization strategy. The second one, which I would share, is again in nurturing and getting a highly engaged workforce by measuring key data points from employees, either by survey, gamification, employee events, participations, gives a measure of happiness quotient, and it allows the companies and the organizations to focus on how to keep employees engaged. And we all know that in order for a thriving workforce, you need highly engaged employees. And in today's world, comp or rewards is not the only way of engaging employees. There are various other factors around work-life balance, flexibility, empowering employees to make decisions, providing them the right skills and training, which are required for them to do not just the current job, but also to be sustainable in future. So some of this and measurement of these ensures you create a highly engaged workforce. The third, and especially the third item which comes in my mind would be around increasing productivity. We all know that post the pandemic, we have been working in a hybrid workforce. and companies have been flexible. We all understood during COVID times what are the means of working 100% virtual. And I think the model of hybrid workforce will continue as we move on to 23 and beyond. Um, Productivity and the measure of productivity is very important to analyze that whether the employees are performing the right job after they are hired and onboarded. How soon can you get them productive? Are there any specific trainings which is required or investments to be required in training to enhance their skills? And all this data can then be analyzed and put into reports, which HR managers as well as business leaders can leverage to make decisions in terms of how to improve productivity of employees, what are the things they can do to enhance the utilization, as well as accelerate their learning so that they can be better utilized in a growing company.
Thanks, Anirban. Very interesting insights. I must say that experts across the globe are saying that data is our new currency, right? And with so much of data available to us, it is upon us to understand data, analyze it better, take out those insights from it, which will help us create better, a better HR ecosystem overall, starting from hiring, as you said, understanding what is working, to employee experience, to also measuring productivity. I think everything that comes in the whole employee life cycle can be analyzed better if we make good use of HR analytics and data. So thanks for sharing those points. You did take us a bit through how important it will be to use HR analysis for employee experience. And we are seeing, Anirban, that the focus on employee experience to accelerate digital transformation and overall business transformation is crucial and has become a leading priority for CHROs. So my next question to you is, with the future being uncertain, what will be your top priorities as transformation and innovation drivers in your organization?
Great question. Yes, I think employee experience is very important in today's world in terms of digital transformation, be it onboarding of employees or what's their experience when they are doing a talent management or going through a transfer process, or if they are moving from one part of the organization to another part, what's the experience of onboarding like as they move and change departments. And it's very important to me. There is a lot of focus which is given to enhance the user and the employee experience, both in terms of the HR applications they use, as well as the various touch points they have during some of these transactions. While we know that organization landscape is dynamic and ever evolving, 2023, I feel, would be different. This year, I feel HR leaders would prioritize creating a more intelligent enterprise and address some of the talent challenges and gaps which we are seeing as the companies grow. So in my mind, in terms of top priorities, I would say there are two top priorities which comes. One is creation of an intelligent enterprise. We see there is a lot of innovation in transformative technologies such as artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, virtual and augmented reality, cloud computing, machine learning, blockchain, super fast network, or availability of super fast networks. So with so much transformation happening and so many things which are available at your disposal to ensure that you are creating a transformative workforce, the new solutions of hybrid working or remote working, and even ensuring you are making business decisions faster, it all requires to create the investments lead on to create an intelligent enterprise. Intelligent enterprise in terms of hiring, whether you are using artificial intelligence and analytics to make the right hiring decisions. When you are creating a succession plan, are you having the right data with you, which then can be analyzed and provide you that whether a person, he or she, can perform in the role in future state using prior data. And the technology is enabling companies to do that. The next priority which comes in my mind would be around addressing talent challenges. We all know that as companies grow and accelerate growing, there is a lot of skills which are going to be required to accelerate this growth. And organizations need to invest on reskilling employees. It is one of the hot topics where, as new technologies, we create an intelligent enterprise. There is so much investment in AI, robotics, and all. You need to have the right talent and the right workforce. And to me, in order to address this talent challenge, you need to have the right amount of analysis in terms of what are the key skills which are required, where would your training investment go, what would be the landscape or the roadmap of the training, at what time you will provide these trainings. All this results in ensuring that you are addressing the talent challenge. In addition to, of course, you will have to ensure you are hiring the right talent and skill set from the market, but growing your existing talent and ensuring you are addressing the challenge internally as well as externally is very important and key priority for shaping and ensuring the company is able to grow in an aggressive manner.
Great points again, Anirban. I think, as you said rightly, organizations will continue to transform, especially this hybrid work will continue. We have, existing technologies and emerging technologies. It's about how innovative you can become with them and how you use your current resources and become and build an intelligent organization. Very rightly said. And secondly, how do you create a workforce that is ready for the future based on what is happening around us? The future might still be uncertain, but how are you preparing your workforce for that? While you're hiring talent, but how are you also preparing and upskilling the current talent? These are going to be some top priorities. So thanks for sharing that, Anirban. I now come to you, Kelly. Thank you once again for joining us. And I'd like to start by asking you, you've been an HR professional for so long. So what measures can HR professionals take to build a more responsive organization, design roles and structures around outcomes to increase agility and flexibility in the current times, Kelly?
All right, thanks Yasmin for having me here as well. I think this is a very loaded question because I think as HR professionals, it also takes time for us to understand what's happening around the world and what does the company actually requires. And then also to meet the business objectives, what do our employees need to do and what does HR needs to have in place. We've seen after the post-COVID world, right, people are looking into total transformation from we have an in-office type of work arrangement now into a hybrid world where remote work becomes so common. And the great resignation is something that we saw also happening in the past. And now we're talking about things like the great retention. So how do we retain people better by understanding what do they really require? So that it looks into how to make our workforce more flexible and more agile. In such a situation, HR professionals like ourselves, we go back and look at our drawing board. How do we make a workplace being more flexible? Is now we review our policies. We definitely need to have more flexibility in our policies, looking into the way that we work. Also recently we have launched our remote work type of practices, having hybrid work in the workplace. So employees have the opportunity to choose when they can come to office, and also when you feel that it's more productive for them to be working from home. But at the same time, collaboration, teaming is so important. We don't want to lose that teaming or engagement between teams and managers or colleagues. So we also agreed to have a common day where at office to have that interaction, the place where we spur ideas together as a team. So having a very flexible policy, for instance, such as remote work policy, is the areas of measures that we have to take. Another portion, if I look back again on this hybrid type of setup, it's important that we also set really clear role structure, responsibilities, goals, at least for the outcomes that employees need to know what they need to achieve if they're working in a hybrid environment. So this will also look into when they are more productive. They might be more productive in certain areas of their work. So in those times when they are working or when their managers feel that they could be working from home. So managers also need to be equipped with the right type of mindset, also to measure or if not manage their employees or their remote teams through outcomes. So there's a big change process. So in terms of HR, the measures that we need to take is how do we embed change management in the organization when things are evolving, when we put in certain new policies. All right, I think the last thing I'm looking at is also what I also resonate a lot with Anirban, that there are so many tools in the market, emerging technologies. Are we leveraging that to help our employees, to help the organization. Definitely, we are looking around. We already have certain tools in place, but there are definitely more and more interesting tools that will definitely help the businesses, even for HR, for employees. So measures such as this is we need to continue to look for such tools to embed into the business process. I mean, that helps to answer this question. Last portion that I want to touch a little bit more is a place of measures is where we need to create an environment that's people empowerment and also create trust, because having a hybrid setup, people are not meeting that often, but how do we continue to embed people empowerment in such an environment and create that transparency among teams and the managers?
Thanks, Kelly. Very nicely put. I must say that these are very interesting times for HR professionals to be in. I think there's so much that they need to do right from the beginning. As you said, we started from the time of the pandemic where we moved into a remote workspace. Then happened the whole era of the great resignation, followed by the great retention. Even now, there's so many geopolitical changes, economic changes that are happening across the world. So HR professionals have to keep abreast and take measures that help them, have the best talent in place, have the best technology in place, have the right combination of trust, leadership that is leading that. I think the role of HR professionals kind of keeps evolving with the kind of transformation that's happening across us. So thanks for sharing. There were some great points. We're talking a bit about the future, and you did tell us what is required and what kind of measures can they take to become more agile and flexible going forward. Kelly, if I may ask you, what, according to you, are some of the most important trends that are expected to transform the HR spectrum globally in 2023 and beyond?
Also a very interesting question when I first saw this question. All right, so in fact, for the HR world, I think the challenge, and also when I say challenge, it's a very positive challenge for all HR to continue to leverage on data analytics. I mean, we are moving into an emerging world where there's so much data. There's a boom of data out there. But how are we making use of such data to help us as HR? So a very important trend that I'm expecting to transform the HR spectrum moving forward is how do we leverage on such data? More and more companies or HR should be leveraging on predictive as well as prescriptive type of analytics to help us to make faster and better decisions. I think whether it's recruitment, whether that is retention or attrition risk, we should be making use of such data, and this will be a trend that's set to come. And at the same time, HR, one of the trends is we have to upskill ourselves and be comfortable working with such analytics. I know this is like, okay, now technology is coming in, so HR is always trying to catch up, but then we don't have time to develop. So it's important HR ourselves to make use of such data to actually upskill, or if not reskill ourselves, our competencies. Another portion in also in terms of another trend that I see is now you see more and more such remote work tools, remote hybrid arrangement. One thing is we see ourselves, our employees, working longer than expected, right? I think all of us in this room, we'll find ourselves, we wake up much earlier to get on the laptop if we're working from home, or if not, we wake up much longer. We stay on longer on meetings. We don't have break between meetings. So it becomes a trend. So it's important that we start looking at total well-being of our employees. Well, technology is helping us, but also we are so swamped into this technology explosion, we forgot about taking care of ourselves, our employees. So it's much a very important agenda in most companies, including ASMPT. How do we look into total well-being, having those right break times, work-life balances for employees? So this will be another HR trend that's coming in. Third trend that I identify is with also the post-COVID is I see more and more remote type of arrangement. When I say remote arrangement is being on a more inclusive and diverse workforce, leveraging another talent pool that's less thought about. Now we have people working more comfortable from home. I could be tapping on remote workforce somewhere else around the world. They don't have to be locally based for instance, in a country that I'm working with. They could be based in where they are, but reporting to another structure or another organization elsewhere. So this is another alternative talent source that I see as another trend that's coming up, which also means that in HR world, we have to look into review our policies. How do we tap on this alternative pool of talents?
Thanks, Kelly. I think very interesting insights. I think Anirban also touched upon it. You also touched upon it. Data is really going to be king going forward, also in the future. And how do you use data to make better and faster, quicker decisions? Very, very important. And a very interesting point you made was about how HR can upskill itself to know and understand data better. Very interesting. And yes, well-being. I think we've been talking about well-being for the past 2, 3 years. The focus has become much higher. But as we move into the post-COVID world, how do you make use of that? Those changes that you created in 2020 and beyond, how do you take them forward in 2023 and continue focusing on well-being of employees? I think these are very important points. And yes, talent pool again, since the whole era of the whole great resignation to retention to attraction has passed, we also spoke about a war for talent in the middle of it. So now it's about how do you explore the best talent from the talent pool that's available to you globally, since everyone's working in a hybrid work mode. So very great trends shared. Thank you so much. Now I'll come back to you, Anirban, and we've spoken, you've seen, you spoke about it, Kelly also spoke about it. This is the imminent impact of technology based on the past 2 years plus patterns of digital transformation needs to be navigated conscientiously. So how can HR professionals best use technology to re-engineer operating models for an increasingly digital world?
Absolutely, great question. I think with digital transformation at its peak, the investment in technology, especially around as we spoke about artificial intelligence, machine learning, this has enabled and empowered HR to change and create a new way of working. For example, we talked around. If I were to give you top two trends or top two areas where HR is leveraging. One would be around artificial intelligence and machine learning. There is senior professionals believe that AI and ML will help HR managers reduce their workload, as well as improve the overall productivity as well as decision making. I think Kelly talked about leveraging AI to drive recruitment or to predict terminations. Currently, there is, with great resignation, I think there was a lot of focus given in can we go and predict the termination or attrition which would happen, and it was based on various parameters, right? From the last time you got promoted, your current salary compared to the others in the company in the same job profile, your workload, productivity, the number of times you have taken leave, where the manager is located. So there can be more than 100 plus parameters which can be leveraged to predict attrition. And some of this would then help to ensure managers or HR is focusing on taking the right actions at the right time to reduce some of the impact because of attrition. So use of artificial intelligence and machine learning is going to grow as we move forward in 2023 and beyond. The other thing which I feel is key in terms of trend is HR's contribution in getting new management skills and the right leaders in the workforce. I think we talked about remote working. Kelly talked about a lot about employees being in a different country, in a different organization, in a different org setup. So it's very important that as you promote more hybrid working, remote working, there is a lot of new skills and challenges employees require. So you always have a constantly evolving and changing workforce. So it is important to have and identify the right leaders, as well as ensure you're investing in coaching and training the managers and leaders to the future leaders who can run and grow the company. And in order to do this, I feel HR analytics plays a big role. In order to identify the skills which is required, in order to ensure that you are investing in the right set of trainings which would create this new era of leaders. And I do feel like as we move into 2023 and beyond, it is important in HR's role in how they will evolve the management skills of the leaders and managers as we move forward.
Great point. Thanks, Anirban, for sharing that. I also totally agree with you. I think with how technology has taken over the world of work and how AI and ML have become so important in the kind of workplaces we are designing now, I'm sure it is going to grow and it will help create better efficiency, better productivity, better workforce management overall if you use AI and ML. And also, as you said, HR's role in, in getting new management skills, new leadership in the workforce, and how it can use analytics to predict and prescribe, I think, the kind of skills that are required to build leaders for the future. That's going to be very, very important. So great points. Thank you so much. Kelly, I'd like to come to you with the final question now. Can you please share top three skills that every employee, irrespective of their business function, must adopt to thrive in an ever evolving business environment? And what will help employees thrive in a continuously evolving business landscape and stay headstrong in the face of future crisis?
Great question. I also want to leverage what Anirban has really also mentioned earlier a lot, about having the right skills or the leaders to be in place. And now with this explosion of technology, I think one of the very critical skills across all functions, for all employees moving forward is data literacy. I think it's a fact that even when we communicate right now, I'm communicating with people on text, I'm communicating with people by voice. So it's all about data literacy out there. All this can be converted to data. So being comfortable with data, leveraging on data to communicate their point of view, especially for management, for managers, is so important. It's a critical skills. Even if you're a non-manager, I think leveraging on data is also helpful in terms of how they influence their colleagues, their peers, to get a viewpoint across. So one point is definitely on data. Another part is, I feel, as we move on across all, is personal resilience. The world is always evolving. People are very uncomfortable sometimes with change. But if you're a very resilient person, it's a very important skill to have, to continue to make sure that you are up, or you are willing to change. You're comfortable with change. So that means making yourself being more skillful with the right skill sets and competencies, upskilling and reskilling. So having that personal resilience in such an evolving world is very, very critical. My last point here is communication skill. Like when I look at kids around me or children, the best is when you look at the children at home, right? Communication is no longer talking face to face. Communication now is over the phone when they're just across the hall, in the living room, in different rooms. They're not communicating to you by words, by face to face anymore. Sometimes they just communicate, mom, dad, just texting you. So it's like, oh gosh, I'm moving to a world of technology where communication is not just by, like in this, not right now, we're communicating via virtual environment. In real world environment is another set of skills as well. Now on the phone, on the PC, when I connect to my colleagues via text, it's actually a skill set, So it's a very important skill set I see that's evolving. And I feel that sometimes, I could improve my text, when I send a certain message or an email to somebody across the world. So you're having that kind of communication, being culturally savvy is also so critical. So actually for me right now, as I stand right at 2022, I look at these three as being very critical moving forward.
And I think Anirban and I both will agree with you on that, actually. Very, very important. Firstly, I think all through our conversation today, data literacy, understanding data, having the skills to analyze data better, make better decisions, getting better insights out of data has been one of the most important points. Secondly, as you said, a personal resilience. I'll also like to add agility there. So if you're resilient and agile, you can, change yourself, transform yourself, evolve yourself better with the kind of changes that are happening around you. And thirdly, as you said, the new rules of communicating and how we can upskill ourselves in them are going to be key skills going forward. So thank you so much for sharing that. On that note, I'd just like to sum up our conversation. And first of all, thank you so much, Kelly and Anirban. It was really, really wonderful talking to the both of you and learning how the new rules of transformation would be for 2023 and beyond. I think we all agreed upon that HR analytics, data, the role of technology, emerging technologies like AI and ML, and how we can use all of this to create better employee experiences, how we can use data and analytics to hire better people, upskill the people that we already have, find the right leaders in our organization, and overall use all of this to prepare for an uncertain future. I think that is what HR transformation is all about, and also how HR leaders themselves can upskill their own roles and try to use data and analytics better for the future. So I think those are the key points that I learned from you On that note, thank you so much, Anirban. Thank you so much, Kelly. It was wonderful talking to you.
Thank you so much. It's been my pleasure as well.
Thanks, Yasmin. Pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It was a very, very valuable conversation for me. Some great insights that came out of that. With this, we come to an end to an intriguing episode, and I look forward to coming back with another exciting episode with some more uncovered new rules of HR transformation. Stay tuned, everyone. Take care and bye bye until then.